Namaskar. Today I'm going to talk about the Israel-Iran war. Now, in a lot of my previous videos on yearly predictions, which was done for last year as well as last to last year, I mentioned that now a polarization in this world is going to take place, where we will have Russia, China, Iran, North Korea on one side, and on the other side will be Israel, USA, NATO countries, Japan, Germany, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, etc. And this is a prediction that I've been sharing across videos since the last 2 years. And even in the eclipse video that I did a few days ago, I'd shared that Iran and Israel, I'd shared a couple of horoscopes of a couple of countries, and I'd said that they seem to be going into a rough patch. Now, let's first take the horoscope of Iran. 1st April 1979, 14:30 hours, Tehran. Now, I'm going to just share a bit on the background of Iran, which you will find relevant to the current context. Therefore, I'm sharing this. Before 1979, Iran was a liberal Muslim country. Shia Iran was a liberal Muslim country. And then the Shah of Iran was supposed to have a luxurious lifestyle. You look at the pictures that you see on the internet of women in Iran, and you would realize some cities were supposed to be as beautiful as Paris, etc. It is said that Iran was a beautiful country. And then Ayatollah Khomeini waged war against a revolutionary, waged war against the Shah, and set up the Islamic Republic of Iran. This happened in February 79, but he proclaimed the Republic on 1st April 79, and that's why we are looking at this chart of 1st April 1979. Now, let's look at a bit of the background. When Ayatollah Khomeini had established the Islamic Republic of Iran, at that point in time, immediately after he had toppled over the monarchy, Iran and Iraq, Shia Iran and Sunni Iraq were at war. And the war ended sometime in 80s. It was a long approximately 9-year long war. And then the situation completely changed. Now, tables did turn, and also remember when the Shah of Iran was the monarch. At that point in time, Iran had very good relations with Israel. It is only after 1979, when Ayatollah Khomeini took over, that this equation that Iran had with Israel became bitter. Okay, when we look at this chart of 1st April 1979, 14:30 hours, Tehran, then it's a Cancer Lagna chart with Jupiter in Lagna and exalted Lagna Lord in the 11th house. What does this tell us? Iran is definitely a prosperous, oil-rich country. It's very, very clear. And nowadays in war, you require oil. For example, if India and Pakistan went to war, the war would not go beyond 15 days because there will be a shortage of oil. But Iran is oil rich. So therefore, Iran has the capability of taking this war into a long drawn war. In 2020, when General Qasem Soleimani was killed by that US drone attack near the airport at Baghdad, the seed was sown for a war. And things sort of amplified from there. It might not have been visible to the world, but well, that was a turning point in 2020, January 2020, when General Soleimani was assassinated by a US drone attack. Currently, the elections are not, the US is waiting for its elections and therefore has not jumped into this war straight on. That too is a reason. And I will share a very interesting point on the US elections in this particular podcast. The dasha that the Iran horoscope is running is that of Jupiter Moon. Now people can say two exalted planets, Jupiter in Lagna in Cancer exalted and Moon exalted in Taurus, the 11th house. How is this happening? How is the war happening? But let's not forget that Jupiter is also the 6th lord of this horoscope, transiting over. It is very soon going to transit over the Lagna lord, Chandrama, Moon in Taurus. Remember that, and these are some very important dates, from 2nd May, the problem is building. So therefore, let me first tell you this. This is not going to be a flash in the pan. This war is not going to be a flash in the pan. It is a long drawn war, and it seems that it is going almost till the end of the decade. As I said, I had earlier and I had previously been mentioning about the polarization of the world. This is a further polarization. This is a further, you can say this is an incisive point of that polarization. And it'll further the rift between the warring clans. Now, to give you a perspective in the short term, from 2nd of May, when Jupiter transits into Taurus over the Lagna lord of Iran as the 6th lord, this is not going to augur well, and it'll deepen the conflict. From 2nd May, the war is intensifying. From the first week of June, it intensifies even more. And from the 20th of August, it is intensifying even further on. The economy of Iran is going to suffer. It is not a well thought out plan. Why? It will be difficult for Iran and the Muslim countries to demolish the Star of David, the hexagon, the Star of David, which is the symbol of the flag of Israel. It cannot be overtaken. Note that very interesting point. The hexagon is also representing the Swadhisthana Chakra. The Star of David is equivalent to the Swadhisthana Chakra. Israel will not lose this war. In a previous podcast, I had once said that Israel, Iran, and India, all three will be attacked, and all three will be at the fulcrum of a new world order. India, Iran, and Israel are three important countries and eventually will set up a new world order. Now, it might not be immediate. It might happen in the next decade, but these are three important countries. All three will be attacked. I have said it in my video in 2021, and all three will rise. The Indians, the Hindus, the Jews, and the Persians. When I refer to Iran, I am not referring to Iran in its current format, if I may, in its current form. I am talking about the ancient Persian civilization. Parsis who are even settled in India, who left their country, they are fire worshippers. I'm referring to the Iran, which had fire worshippers, which had a culture of fire worshipping. Remember now, 2020 was a pivotal point. From 2020, the cosmic Shakti is only going to be Urdhvamukhi. And that's the reason why I'm saying that the Swadhisthana Chakra or the Star of David, the hexagon of Israel, will not lose, will not bite the dust. I'd shared 3 dates on the war intensifying, which are in the short term. I'd said 2nd May, first week of June, and then from the 20th of August, 2024. From 15 September 2024, we will see that Iran is suffering even more. The economy will suffer even more. As I said, now another point why I'm saying that Iran is going to suffer even more. Let's look at the Cancer Lagna chart of Iran. Natal 8th Lord Saturn is transiting in the 8th house. For Cancer Lagna, Aquarius is the 8th house. Natal 8th Lord Saturn is transiting in the 8th house over natal Venus and natal Ketu. Natal Saturn is in the 2nd house, also aspecting this incendiary point. From October 2023, Iran runs the Dasha where it is soon going to get into a very active war. And with the eclipse of 8th April, it has just been triggered. It has just been the catalyst. Coming back to the natal Saturn. Natal Saturn transiting over the 4th Lord Venus is not a great thing, which means that there is going to be a lot of harm, a lot of problem to the land of that country. There can be excessive and immense problems. Buildings can fall, severe attacks on the land and soil of Iran seem to be coming up from the month of May, because the Antardashas are going to change to Ketu and Venus. Currently, the Pratyantar Dasha is that of Mercury. The moment it changes to Venus and then to Ketu and then eventually Venus, and that is going to happen from May, June onwards, there is going to be more trouble, more attacks on the land of Iran. So therefore, this war is only going to intensify and this conflict is only going to deepen. There was another very important date that I wanted to share. Now, yes, in the short term, I have told you 4 dates. I have said that economy will start suffering from mid-September onwards. Remember that from now till April 2025, Iran is not on a winning spree. It is on a losing. It is on the losing end, and it will be the victim. It will be troubled much more. Even though Iran decided that it will attack Israel, it was not great timing, and this is a period where Iran is going to suffer. So Vinash Kale Viprit Buddhi is something that I keep on saying, and well, when you look at the chart of Iran, you know this is Vinash Kale Viprit Buddhi. When the Kal is not in your favor, you take decisions which will only harm you and trouble you furthermore. And you can see that from the chart of Iran. So till April 2025, there seems to be no respite for Iran and there are only troubles. Another point that I'm looking at, which I wanted to share. Yeah. Now, after 2020, whatever is happening in the scheme of things, and as I said, the polarization is only going to deepen. and become extremely pronounced. Shias are going to rise. Shias who were earlier oppressed, suppressed across very many countries, even in Pakistan, you read about Shias being oppressed and harassed. Shias are going to rise. I'm going to share something. For those, it's a very deeper esoteric point. Lady Fatima is worshipped by the Shias. Those who worship Lady Fatima will gain strength now after 2020. I am sharing this point astrologically. It is not about wishful thinking, it is an astrological point which tells you that this is going to happen. Another very important, before I share Israel's chart, I am going to share something on the US elections. If US elections, when the US elections happen, if a Republican candidate wins, then US will support Israel more and US will suffer less. If the Pentagon houses a Democratic candidate, then under the garb of being an ally of the Jews or under the garb of being an ally of Israel, US will also promote or rather support other Muslim countries, and that will not augur well for the US economy in the years to come. That's an interesting point. If the Pentagon houses a Democratic candidate, US economy will further go down in the next elections. And a Republican candidate will be a saving grace. Because that candidate, it's not, I'm predicting this, because then US will be a pure ally to Israel. And that will augur well for USA, US of A. Of course, US has been promoting war by selling ammunition, filling its coffers by promoting war, and now it's time for karma to catch up. And karma is going to catch up very, very soon. There seem to be natural calamities coming up in the United States of America on the Prithvi and the Jal Tattva, on the water and the earth element. And of course, I have shared a very interesting point on the candidate that the Pentagon will house. The Pentagon. Okay. Now let's come to the chart of Israel. Israel. 14th May 1948, 1600 hours Tel Aviv. Israel's chart. It's a Kanya Lagna horoscope. I had shared minor details about this chart in my podcast about the eclipse of 8th April, and I had said that problem seems to be looming large. The dark clouds of war seem to be lurking for Israel. Now, it's a Kanya Lagna chart with Jupiter and Venus in the Kendras. Well, of course, Mars in the 12th house aspecting the 7th, and we know that Israel is always fighting to protect its identity. Lagna Lord with the 12th Lord in the 9th house. Not a great combination. Saturn from the 11th. Saturn and Moon are housed in the 11th house. Saturn aspecting natal Rahu in the 8th house. War, violence and volatility. That is the promise that Israel has. But it has the promise of perseverance. It will not lose hope, and it will not lose a fight. In spite of being Partadit, It'll move on. Now, in this Kanya Lagna horoscope, Israel started the Dasha of Rahu in February 2023. But it is from October 23 that, as I said previously, Israel ran a combination of now getting into a full-fledged war, and the 8th April eclipse sort of triggered it immensely. I have said that from till April 2025, Iran is going to suffer a lot. From February 2025 till October 2025, when Israel runs the Yogini Dasha of Saturn Rahu, Israel too will suffer. The period is February 2025 till October 2025. Again, similar months in the year of 2027. February to October 2027 are disastrous for Israel. The dashas that Israel is running, one can see that it's going to be disastrous. These 2 points. I come back to Iran. I had said that till April 2025, Iran seems to suffer a lot. After that, it becomes slightly better. But from November 2025 till June 2026, Iran suffers really bad. There is no end to this war till almost 2029. What has started now in 2024 will not end till almost the end of the decade. This is a long, drawn war which will further polarize the world and deepen the sections and the conflict. And many more nations will join these 2 sailing ships. When I say the 2 sailing ships, I mean this polarization, this rift will further deepen. These are not great times. What will start in 2024 is going to be non-stop. And remember, Russia, Ukraine, and then now Iran and Israel. This is not going to end. From 2024 till 2029, almost till 2030. After 2030, India too will have to side. And of course, it is going to side Israel. It is very clear. And India will too have to jump into this bandwagon from 2030 onwards. The stakes will be clear by 2030 itself. But 2030 onwards, India too will have to take sides, and it'll be a very difficult situation. And as I said, India's ally, Russia, is on one side, and the other ally, Israel, is on the other side of the fence. And that will be a very, very difficult and a very tricky situation. The seeds of the Third World War have been set, have been sown with this war. And now things are only going to amplify. I wanted to share this with you, and I've shared some very esoteric, important points, all astrological points, and I hope you see the deeper light in those points that I've shared. I'll try and detail them out some other time. Thank you. Namaskar.